How's it going, guys? Here's the video I was gonna make about Saturn, and pretty good information. Hope you guys enjoy, maybe learn something, or perhaps you already knew some of these things, which, you know, it's cool too. That's awesome. From the from the famous quote of Mortal Kombat, there is no knowledge that is not power. I think that's how they said it. But it's true. A little knowledge everywhere, right? So, greetings, welcome. Shalom to you. However you greet in your country, in your place around, among the realms. And here we go. So first thing we're gonna go into is a little video here of a good friend of ours, Jordan Maxwell. He also has some very good information. I want to thank that brother and everyone down the grapevine, you know, to even get the video, you know what I mean? And all the information, books, you know, that I can't cite right here because I don't know them. It's probably in the video, maybe, but some very interesting stuff. Check it out. All right, here we go.
Will never question, why do Catholic priests wear black robes? Kids that graduate from high school wear black robes. Judges wear black robes. Rabbis wear black robes because black robes represent the planet Saturn. They are a symbol for the planet Saturn. Saturn was called by the ancient people Lord of the Rings. And Saturn is Lord of the Rings. This is why women were told in the ancient world to listen to their God. And the concept was they would wear an ear ring. Men were to get married before their gods. They would wear a wedding ring. Because the old ancient god of the Middle East, one of the ancient gods of the Middle East, was the planet Saturn. Saturn was directly connected to Yahweh, the Hebrew God. And so this is why even today, the Jews celebrate the worship of Saturn. Saturn in the old Phoenician language was called Sabbath. Look up in the Phoenician language. You will find that the planet Saturn was called Sabbath. And his worship to honor him once a week was called Sabbath. So when the Jews are having Sabbath, they're actually paying homage to their god Saturn, Lord of the Rings. And so when you start breaking down where religions have come from, theologies have come from, the six-pointed star, for instance, is called the Star of David. Actually, it's not the Star of David. All the encyclopedias and reference works will tell you that it's called the Star of Saturn. It is a hexagram. Hexagrams represented the planet Saturn. So, and then when you look at the Christian system of things, the church is a disgrace, in my opinion, yes. Period. The Christian church is a disgrace. Everything that comes out of the Christian church in America is a disgrace. It's filled with lies, deception, innuendos. It is a money-making corporation. Black robe.
Okay, that's it.
There's a motion.
Okay, I'll just close it. All right, so that was that video. So the planet Saturn and hexagrams and Sabbath, Shabbat, you know what I mean? All these, what is all this? Well, we're gonna look, I mean, because he can say this all he wants, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But until we start seeing sources, then that's when people starts actually maybe penetrating, you know, maybe there's some light coming through, but because because the blinders have been on, the veil, if you want to say, has been on so long that, clothing, cloth material, kind of fades, through the time, through the years. So maybe it's just been on so long that maybe there's little holes in there now, and maybe there's some little lights coming through. I don't know. But here we go. So what should we start? All right, well, the last part of the video, he mentioned hexagram, so let's just go to hexagram. Oh, yep, we're on Wiki. Here we go. I'm just going to kind of go through this stuff. I'm not going to read everything, you know what I mean? It's just too much stuff. But where I really want to go is right here. Usage in occultism. You can go there, and I think also if you go right here at... religious usage, sorry. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can check out yourself if you want to, but or pause this video. There's just too much stuff here. Look at all this stuff, and some of these things we'll be going through this. Look, check this out. Let's see. In Judaism, the Magandawad is a generally recognized symbol of Judaism and Jewish identity, and is also known colloquially, as a Jewish star or Star of David. Its usage as a sign of Jewish identity began in the Middle Ages, though its religious usage began earlier, with the current earliest archaeological evidence being a stone-bearing shield from the Ark of the 3rd, 4th century synagogue in the Galilee. Okay, well, that's that, but, there's a whole bunch of stuff. You want to look at that one, but let's go back. And, whoops. Let's just close that out. And right here is where we need to go. Alright. It was highlighted a second ago, but since I went there. So let's read about the hexagram. And if the volume kind of cuts, it's because I'm setting the phone down, so I'm sorry. But I'll pick it up again. And it says, the hexagram, like the pentagram, was and is used in practices of the occult and ceremonial magic, and is attributed to the 7 old, quote-unquote, planets outlined in astrology. The 6-pointed star is commonly used both as a talisman and for conjuring spirits and spiritual forces in diverse forms of occult magic. In the book, The History and Practice of Magic, Volume 2, the six-pointed star is called the talisman of Saturn. There's that name again. And it is also referred to as the seal of Solomon, and among other things. Details are given in this book on how to make these symbols and the materials to use. Okay, let's see. And we all know the symbol. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I think that's all we have for that one, that little portion. Hold on, let me go down here. Okay, yep, that was it. So, I'm going to move this, because I can't see. Alright, so we got that one. Let's close that out, just so we don't get confused anymore. And it was, there it is. It's up there, let me get it. Okay, let's go here. And we are in occult.live index, and it's on the subject of Saturn. Whoops. Alright, so there's that. Let's see, where's the part we're looking for? It's right here. Mythology. Alright, and it says, in ancient Hebrew, Saturn is called Shabbatai. Uh-oh. Its angel is Cassiel. Its intelligence or beneficial spirit is Agiel. Okay, let me skip this. Okay. Zazel, okay, has been described as the great angel invoked in Solomonic magic. We don't hear that in the Bible. Never heard of Solomonic magic. It's forbidden, isn't it? Interesting. Okay. Got that little bit. And this is according to Roman stuff, but we don't need to look at that stuff. I think that's all on that. Let me see. Let me just check again. This part right here, the Roman part right here, we're gonna go into that in a little bit. I'm gonna actually look up the name, the etymology. Yeah, that's it on this. Okay, sorry for the delay. So where's that? And we're gonna close that one out. And let's go right here. And this is on. Let's see, that one's actually kind of long. Let me go to another one real quick. See if there's another one real quick. Boom, boom, boom. All right, this one. So this is from Sabbath.org, index, library, all that stuff, and it's about 6-pointed star. And this is by Martin G. Collins. Thank you so much. And on this page here, you can actually listen to him narrate this whole stuff right here. So if you don't want to hear me, you can. You got the website, and you can do it yourself. You can hear him. So I'm just gonna skip through all this and we're already 11 minutes in. So let's see. Yeah, let's read it. All right. The description is: the 6-pointed star, the shield of David, or the Magan, I'm just going to call it the Magan Dawad, that appears on the Israeli flag, does not have an inherently Jewish meaning, but was actually introduced into the Jewish community in Prague during the 17th century. Like the cross of Christendom, the so-called Star of David has its origins in ancient Egyptian and Babylonian paganism. In the prohibition of Deuteronomy 4:17, worship of stars and heavenly constellations is considered a form of idolatry. It is. And let's see, the hexagram star was always associated with occult magic practices in the Zoroastrian and Druid religions. Some Orthodox Jewish organizations vehemently rejected the Magan Dawad as a symbol, claiming that it infiltrated Judaism from occultist practices. I wonder why. And that's the quote unquote the good rabbis. You know what I mean? That's the good ones, quote unquote, that are probably saying that, because the other guys, man, they're anyway. That's another topic. There's some other videos I've had on there, or posts maybe too, of the stuff that they look into or follow, the Talmud and stuff. Pretty gross stuff. But anyway, the red 6-point star had served as a crest for the Jewish Rothschild family, which influenced the Zionist movement to accept the Star of David as the chief symbol of Judaism. Sadly, the 6-sided hexagon, a tool of the witches, mediums. When that guy wanted to walk about. Okay, that was weird. Must be like something he put in there. All right, so we got the transcript. Here we go. What is the origin of the Star of David? The emblem that quite a few Jews use. They put it on the fronts of their synagogues. Yeah, we see them all the time. And Hitler stamped the stars on the Jews during World War II. The Star of David, known in Hebrew as the Shield of David or the Magan Dawad, was not originally a Jewish symbol. It's found in ancient art, both Jewish and non-Jewish, and it does not seem to have had a particularly Jewish meaning. Jewish meaning. I gotta move this thing. Okay, the Jewish community of Prague was the first to use the Star of David as its official symbol, and from the 17th century on, the 6-pointed star became the official seal of many Jewish communities and a general sign of Judaism, though it has no biblical or Talmudic authority. Synagogues feature the symbol on the ark, on the velvet covering on the Torah, and on the Torah reading platform. Dude, you see it everywhere, actually. I mean, and people wear it on necklaces, and you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying anything new, you know what I mean? This is, everyone knows what it is. That's a reading platform. It has also been used for Jewish coffins and gravestones to mark those who are Jewish. When the Zionists searched for a symbol of their movement, they picked both the Star of David and the menorah. One for their flag and one for their national seal. But the Jewish people do not have much of a historical attachment to the Star of David, except in recent times. Let's see, okay, so he's talking here, he's like, on a rare occasion, I have seen people attending God's church, wearing the star necklace, Star of David. Also, a few seemingly Christians websites display the symbol as well. It is innocently done, not knowing the origin. Yep, very true, very true. But where did it come from originally? Was it always a Jewish symbol? And then we have a source here. The Universal Jewish Encyclopedia declares that the six-pointed star, according to the star-worshipping Rosicrucians, was known to the ancient Egyptians. Excuse me. Sip water real quick. Ancient Egyptians. The religion of the ancient Egyptians is known to have consistent preeminently of sun worship and serpent worship too, from what I've seen as well. And let's see, Moses sternly warned the Israelites against worshiping the sun, moon, stars, and all the hosts of heaven. And here's Deuteronomy 4:19. Not sure which translation it is, but probably not King James, because I don't see thous, and you know what I mean. So let's see. And take heed. Oh, it might be. And take heed lest you lift your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the host of heaven, you feel driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God has given to all the peoples under the whole heaven as a heritage. Okay, so that is in there. Don't look at the stars. Let's see. Don't worship the stars, the moon, everything else that you might see up there. I mean, people worship everything. Literally. Alright, so Moses' warning was emphatic. Sorry. The prohibition of making and worshiping any image of that which is in heaven above emphasizes the stars and implies also the other celestial bodies. The six-pointed star can be traced to the worship of Ashtoreth, also known as Astarte, meaning star, and Kayun, and Remphan, meaning star, from the Egyptians before King Solomon's time. Whoa. And I'm sure there's I've seen pictures, floating around on the internet of like old, hexagram, the Star of David on the top there with like it looked like horns on it and like a face in it. I don't know where that was from, but that one was pretty funny. It's like, whoa, someone knew something. Alright, the first biblical mention of an idolatrous star among the Israelites is in the 8th century BCE. And let's see, mentioned in Amos 5 regarding their trek from Egypt to Canaan. God is thinking back and talking to them about what has transpired. Okay. Amos 5:25, verse 27. Did you offer me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Israel? You also carried Sukkoth, which is, i.e., tabernacle of Moloch, the god of which they sacrificed children, your king, and Kayun, i.e., a pagan deity, your idols, the star of your gods, which you made for yourselves. Therefore I will send you into captivity beyond Damascus, says the Lord, whose name is the God of hosts. Let's see. It cannot be determined whether this star is the occult six-pointed star we know today as the Star of David. Nevertheless, this verse does establish that the worship of pagan gods used the star or stars to symbolize them. That's true. And then, let's see, regarding star worship, the Jewish Encyclopedia says, this is perhaps the oldest form of idolatry practiced by the ancients. The observation of the stars in the east very early led the people to regard the planets and the fixed stars as gods. The ancient Israelites fell into this kind of idolatry, and they had the image of Sikath and Kayun, always spelled differently. The star of their gods. The star of the pagan deity Kayun is generally believed to represent the planet Saturn, and we're going to get into this in a little bit. And then we got in the book of history and practice of magic. Well, didn't we just hear that? And we just read that a little bit ago. And it's pretty much the same thing, right? Let me see. The six-pointed star is called the talisman of Saturn. Yep. The obverse side of has the five-pointed star, okay, commonly called the pentagram. Okay. And the reverse side has a seal of Solomon with the hexagram at its center. The hexagram is also known as the king's star in astrological circles and was an important astrological symbol in Zoroastrianism. It was also used by the Druids during the high Sabbath of occultists and witches, and now called Halloween. Uh-oh. Oh, you Halloweeners. The hexagram is also found in Arabian magic and witchcraft through the Middle Ages. The Star of David is not mentioned in rabbinic literature at all. Notably, not a single ancient archaeological proof exists as yet concerning the use of the symbol in the Holy Land in ancient times, even after King David. I'm sure some people are going to be arguing this, but I want to see it too. It has been noted in two isolated cases in the 3rd century CE, Common Era, on the Jewish tombstone at Tarentum in southern Italy, and it was used in Capernaum synagogue in the same century. The earliest Jewish literary source which mentions it is the 12th century Eshkol HaKafir. Probably butchered that one. Written by the Karaite Jewish scholar Judah Hadassi, and he writes the 7th. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Yep, 7 names of angels precede the mezuzah: Michael, Gabriel, etc. Yeah, protect thee. Okay, so he's got all the names in there. And likewise, the sign called David's shield, the Star of David, is placed beside the name of each angel. The name Star of David originated in the 13th century in Kabbalah, the ancient Jewish tradition of mystical interpretation of the Bible. That's Kabbalah, that's the term. And it's some mystical stuff in there, man. So, but never mind. That's a whole another thing, man. All right, so let's see. Interpretation of the Bible, where it is a magic symbol associated with the pentagram. It is very commonly known that the pentagram is directly associated with witchcraft and occultism. This guy's just summarizing everything we just read a second ago. The star symbol continues down through the occult to the Jewish Meyer Amschel Bauer, who is the 18th century changed his name to depict the red six-pointed star or shield, which he had hung on his door in Germany. And we know who this guy is. And thus began the family of the Red Shield, or Rothschild. That's the guy. Also, several Rothschild descendants have the Star of David on their coat of arms, to wear a Jewish family, but it is not a symbol of Judaism. So if you're a Jew, you would wear that. You would put that somewhere whether it be a coffin, tombstone, anything. Necklace. It's really not really a meaning, I guess, according to all this stuff. Just wear it for the hell of it, I guess. The Rothschild were instrumental in raising up the Zionist movement in 1896 and funding its activities, and then forcing the occult leaders of Israel in 1948 to adopt the hexagram as their national symbol. The Star of David was adopted by the First Zionist Congress in 1897 as a symbol, and it is seen on the flags of the Zionist organization and of the State of Israel. There is no biblical evidence, whether scriptural or archaeological, that the so-called Star of David is a God-given symbol for the Israelites, or more specifically, the Jews. The Israelite view of God under Moses, which permitted no images of God, was and still is opposed to the acceptance of any symbols to represent God, and neither the Bible nor the Talmud condones them. There is extensive evidence that the Star of David originated in very ancient occult practices and continues to occupy a place in those practices today. Sadly, this practice is prevalent within Judaism and Christianity today. It is an interweaving of occult mysticism with the Holy Scriptures. The so-called Star of David is essentially a hexagram, nothing more, nothing less. There is no biblical, archaeological, or Jewish evidence that traces this ancient occult symbol to King David of Israel. Some Orthodox Jewish groups reject the use of the hexagram or Shield of David because of its association with magic and the occult, the hidden. They do not recognize it as a Jewish symbol. If you examine the so-called Star of David, or hexagram, closely, you discover something astonishing. It has 6 points, forms 6 equilateral triangles, and in its interior forms a 6-sided hexagon. Thus, it has been intentionally designed with a 666 message. God specifically warns against this kind of thing in his written word. Christians and Jews must not look or dabble in the occult, not even for fun and entertainment. So, according to this guy, shouldn't be watching Harry Potter, any of the ghost movies, or any of that, Lord of the Rings. We just talked about Lord of the Rings. But the movie Lord of the Rings, you're not supposed to look into that stuff. I mean, according to the Bibles, you know. But let's see. Witches, magicians, mediums, or sorcerers will not guide you to your walk with God. Neither will good luck charms protect you. This is this guy's word. And we are certainly not to use their symbols as representative of God or his people. If this is true of the Star of David, it raises the question of the origin of the Christian cross. He's got a point. He has a point, man. I mean, about anything. I mean, just like the language that I'm using right now, English, all the stuff in there, you know, all the spells and hexes that are in that, and just the everyday terminology that we say in our life, you know, just talking to people. When you wake up, what's one of the first things you say to people? Hey, good morning. Good morning. I mean, it's, yeah, we understand. Oh, okay, good morning. That means, you know, the sun is coming up, right? The sun just came up. So what about morning? You know, with the U in there after the O, which means to, you know, to be sad and, you know, to weep for something. You're in a sad moment, but you know, it doesn't matter to when you say it, you know what I mean? It's not like you're saying to, if someone hears morning, they're not gonna know right away what you're talking about unless they don't know what, you know, that there's two mornings. You know, they're not gonna know right away what you're talking about, but generally, you know, it's hey, you know, if it's gonna be morning, like the daytime, but there's a lot of stuff, you know, just spells and just our everyday talks, man. It's crazy. So anyway, that was pretty lengthy, so I'm sorry for all the time that one took. Okay, so let me close that one out since we just got that. And we got some more. Let's see, which one was the good one? And I'm probably not going to go into all of these now because a lot of that, well, actually, yeah, these other stuff have, they go another little direction. So let's go here. Let's just kind of read a little bit from this one. And this is Etymology Online. All right, let me move this real quick. And we're at 30 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think that's all the ones we had on the star. Let me check really quick. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go into Sabbath now, or Shabbat. And let's see what we got here. Because where does it come from? You know what I mean? Sabbath. Let's find out. Middle English Sabbat, from Old English Sabbat. 7th day of the week in the Jewish calendar. Saturday. Okay? As observed by the Jews as a day of rest. So they name it after them. For secular employment and of religious observance of Old French Shabbat, and directly from Latin Sabbatum, from Greek Sabbaton, from Hebrew Shabbath. So there we go. Shabbath, which is, what people call Sabbath. And we found out that it's correlated to Saturn. The talisman of Saturn, I think, was one of the names. Star of Saturn. And you even got like rabbis or whatever they call themselves, mages or sages, sorry, denouncing that. So I mean, what are people like? I mean, not to say follow them, but if all this stuff is pointing like to a negative sense, what the hell, man? What's going on? Okay, so properly day of rest for Shabbat. He rested from labor. Okay, and okay, this is pretty interesting. The Babylonians regarded 7 days as unlucky and avoided certain activities on them. The Jewish observance might have been as a similar custom. Among European Christians, the time of Sabbath shifted from the 7th day to the first day, Sunday. Oh, they started doing sun worship instead of Saturn worship. And let's see. Christians celebrate the Lord's resurrection. Oh, and that's coming up, actually, the Lord's resurrection in a couple days. That's tomorrow, actually. Today is actually Saturday. The 7th day of the week. And tomorrow is Ashtar. Oh man, where they're going to be celebrating a pagan deity, Ishtar. It's pretty crazy, man. And like I said, like earlier, and just people just don't check out what the hell they follow, man. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, follow whatever you want, do what you want to do, but bro, like, you can't just, I mean, if you want to, you can, but you can't just follow your whole life, man, just something and never question it. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just am among, many that also think the same, where I want to know about stuff, not just follow, the norm or what anyone says, because I mean that's basically what's happening, what's been happening forever. And anyway, let's see. I'm just gonna skip through a little bit. Yep. Okay. That's it. So there's a little bit there on the Sabbath through Etymology Online, and let's close that out. And then we can go also into this one right here. And oh man, this one right here. All right, so as you can see there, Shabtai, right? It's like I was stating earlier, these names, like whenever like they're writing them, and you can see it for yourself, they change the spelling so much, like it's so hard to like find what they're actually, if you don't know the language, like first off, or firsthand, if it wasn't a first language for you, it's hard to kind of like search out like the real Hebrew, kind of like reverse engineering it. But I was able to find what all these little terms here were, and then I even got the blue letter, and we're gonna go into that so we can see how these were pronounced, and the actual Hebrew letters, which they're here, and not with the little points and all that the Masoretics added. So it's Shabbatai, and here it's Shabtai. And we went earlier and we saw Shabbatai as well. So like I said, see, it's just the names are just constantly changing. A V will be a B, and a T is actually a TH. There's a TA like Sabbath. It's actually a letter, and there's also just like a regular hard T. And they're like supposed to be the same. It's weird, man. And like one little dot can change like the whole pronunciation of everything. It's pretty messed up. So we go. The name Shabbatai comes from the word Shivet, which is Shabbath. And let me see if I have it here. I think I do. I think I found it like right here. See, I was here's this one. I'm gonna show you in a minute when I get to this part. When I get to that part, I'm gonna show you. So let's see. Shabbatai comes from the word Shabbath, and Shavat. I'm just gonna read it like that, man, because there's too much back and forth and this and that and blah blah blah. Okay, so Shevet, and Shavat to stop, activity, sit, which I have it right here. It's actually this word. Shabbath. It's still Shabbath. It's just, remember that I was saying earlier, like the T, it's a T, but it's actually a TH, It's crazy. Okay, so, and it's derivative Shabbat, Sabbath, see, he's got it there. But it is also, and also in the Hebrew has like different meanings. So it can mean like to rest, and then it can mean something else. But with those squiggly lines, that's how they put it in the lexicons, that it's a different word. You know what I mean? Because it's a different point. So let's see. So Sabbath, but it is also related to the Roman god Saturn, which we saw earlier. It creates a kind of circle. Saturn, which I skipped a little bit. Sorry. Related to the Roman god Saturn, which gave its name to the seventh day, Saturday. It creates a kind of circle where its beginning has not been established. If the planet is called in Hebrew Shabbatai because it is so distant that its orbit is not detectable, and it may be considered as Shabbath, fixed planet, then we have a pure Hebrew name. If it's named after Saturday, then it is after a holy day that came from a pagan god. So either way, sadly, holiness and the defiled are often forcefully connected. True. For example, any historian or archaeologist knows that under any ruins of a church or a synagogue, they'll most certainly find older ruins of a pagan temple or a shrine. Yes. And you can check that out, man. Just Google some stuff, and I mean, look at over there in the state of Israel. It's it's got, they had it was Jerusalem, right? So, and there was like temple there. It was a temple, supposedly, and that was destroyed, and then they rebuilt what's there now, the Kaaba stone, the supposed meteorite, the cube. It's just Saturn worship is over it, on top of it. So it's like, it's crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, and if I am, well, I'm sorry. I did not mean it. And let's see. Transitions between cultures and religions are also coupled with carried over names and traditions. Yes, like Saturnalia. While we're at the subject, Saturnalia was celebrated as what people would call now Christmas, and it was like a week-long thing or something like that, 7 days I think, where there was just debauchery and just drunkenness, just craziness, bro. Like, and not just adults, sexual activities, not just adults. There's kids involved in there, children. It's freaking crazy. While we're at it, let's name Saturnalia. Why not? But yeah, and look it up, man. Check it out. Check it out for yourself. Saturnalia. On the topic of Saturn. Pretty interesting stuff. All right. And let's see. This is these guys right here. I think I skipped this part. Let's just read it. In the last few days, we've been looking at Earth from high above. We covered the Hebrew names of the planets and the stars that were known in ancient times and are still in use today. The planets were roughly divided in ancient times and nowadays by the IAU, the International Astronomical Union, into two types: the fixed stars and the moving stars. The moving stars category included our 7 solar system planets. They're called in Hebrew in plural. In plural form, Kakve and Kakve Leket, okay, and the singular is Kokav Leket. And let me. We're at that section now. All right, I went in there, and found this. This is for one of the words. Right here, if we scroll, it is Lachet. See? Lachet. Okay? So, and what does that mean? Going, for the moving. And then, where's the other one? Let's see, going, and then single. And I'm gonna get the other word too. So here we go. For planet and stuff. Let me go here. And there's the word that we're looking for planet. I looked this one up. And so it's Kawakab Lakath. And that's what meaning planet is. The meaning for planet. What this is trying to say here, the Kokav, you know what I mean? Kawakab. See, because they changed the B's to a V, and it's interesting because if you know Spanish, Espanol, you can see like an example of that in anyway, let me see what we can get here. Okay, so we got that, and we got the word Kawakab Lakath, and that's the Kokav and Laket, which is, that's probably how they would pronounce it or something like that. Something around those lines. Oh man, okay. Okay, so you're here. We got this one right here. The going. Got the name of the planet. Sorry, like just it's going back and forth. Okay, so for going and for walking, we just got that. In the biblical Hebrew, Lakath, and then remember the T's, it can be THs or T, just regular T. In this case, it's a TH. Lakath is considered an infinitive absolute, the very basic nucleus form of a word or concept. It is hence the core word for moving. In fact, the mere English name planet comes from the Greek name planetes, which means moving about, sometimes like moving back and forth, okay? And we got, the other group was named by the IAU, the fixed stars in Hebrew. They are called the Kokve Shevet. So that would be, okay, this was one here too. See, I even got the lexicon number. If you guys have a lexicon, check that one out. It's getting hot, so I'm sorry, I gotta turn the AC up. Okay, so I gotta speak a little louder too. Nah, let's not do that. It's too loud. Okay, so we got that. And remember, like, the words can be changed. Like, here, let me see if I can show you. So 7675. Let me see if I can do that real quick. Do I have it? Yep. Okay, so this is 7675, one we just saw, right? And then look, it's the same letter. Only thing that changes, see, okay, pay attention right here in this area. It's gonna change the little points. See that? And it changes the word. So all these are Shabbat, because that's SH, the B, and then the TH. But here they say that it's a T. So, see what I mean? And so that, it means to desist, to rest, the one, to sitting still, which we saw, and their seat, dwelling place. So it's got a lot of meaning. And then we're here to the Shabbat. So it's got a whole bunch of meanings. Oh, but the one that we're trying to get, okay, let's go past that. So it's still Kawakabai, because it's plural. And then Shabbat. Okay, singular. Okay, got that. Okay, okay, I kind of lost where we were. Okay, let me just start from here then. Okay, the word means there, biblical Hebrew. Okay, we've got all this stuff. As an absolute, the very basic nucleus form of a word or concept, it is hence the core word for stationary. Of course, our current understanding is that nothing is really stationary in outer space. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's that for that. For Sabbath. And let's go over here. I found this little, I think this one. Let's go here. And this is, let's see, 48. We need to go to 48 right here. I already have it. And just so I can show you what the see, we're gonna be like right here, 35, where it talks about a couple planets here, the moving stars and the stationary stars, what we just read. So it's supposed to be 48. So let me get you the title. So, and this is on archives.org, details, all that stuff, and there's the website. Okay, so all right, and this is right here. You can zoom it in. Library of Wellesley College, purchased from all that stuff. Okay, and it is called Astronomy in the Old Testament, and it's by G. Schiaparelli. I hope I said it right. And authorized English translation with many corrections and additions by the author, and it's from Oxford at the Clarendon Press, 1905. And there's that seal, and then we're gonna go to skip down to 48, and we're gonna read that little part. And this is Astronomy in the Old Testament, same book. Just went down, and there's some interesting stuff here. Actually, I'm just gonna go up a little bit because there's some interesting information here. Check it out. Or pause this, but there's some pretty interesting things here. I think even if I go up, let's see, where was it? Maybe a little. Anyway, here I'm just gonna go up. What else? Okay, and you can look at it for yourself. Go on the website, whatever you want to do. Okay, and this is on where it says 35, where we are right here. And of the planets considered, let me see if I can zoom in. Singly, 2 only can be traced in the Old Testament. One of the great prophets of the exile, whose predictions are now found mingled with those of Isaiah, when exulting over the imminent ruin of the Babylonian Empire, breaks into the following words, and then there's a 1 there. So this is from Isaiah 14, right? If that's my Roman numerology is correct. Okay, and the following words, and then how art thou fallen from heaven, O Hallel, child of the morning, and cut down to the ground, O thou stampler of nations. And the word Hallel takes a root from halal, which can be interpreted and luxit, splendut, gloriatus. Okay. Hence it may easily be understood of a star, all the more that besides the sun and moon, only stars can fall from heaven. Accordingly, the star child of the morning may appropriately be referred to Venus, the morning star. And then, in fact, let's see. Let me see if I have that. Nope, but we can get it. What was that? What did we say it was? Was it 14, 12? Let's go here. Isaiah 14. Oop, and 12. And Lucifer. Oh, we see the word Lucifer, which is what we're talking about, which means Hayalal. This would Hallel, but that's H, Y, and then 2 L's. So let's look into it. Light bearer, shining one, morning star, and then let's see, brightness, morning star, morning star, morning star. Okay. Oh, mention of Venus right here. All right. And then Gesenius, Morning star, bright star, splendid star, and there you go. So there is a reference maybe to Venus there, as this just showed us. Maybe. Alright, and then we got the LXX and the Vulgate have understood it also, or it's so. And then 2, we got, let's see, if you look down here, number 2, it says, similarly in Assyrio-Babylonian, the planet Venus is sometimes designated Mustelil for the root Elil, and then see that person. Okay, but we don't have that, and I don't really care about Venus. We're looking at Saturn, and we're gonna get there in a second. And so we got that, as we shall have occasion to show lower down. 2 appearances of Venus in the morning and evening were probably thought of by the Jews as 2 different stars with the name Mazzaroth, and that's in like Job. That particular word, I think cites it here. An allusion to Venus might conjecturally be recognized in the morning stars. Oh, there it is, mentioned in Job, and that's what 30, 10, 20, 30, 38 and 7. And then we have number 3 there, LXX and the Vulgate. Other passages occur in which Lucifer or Vesper are named, but when examined in comparison with the Hebrew text, they leave an element of doubt. And in some of them, the expressions are to be understood simply of the dawn or the morning light. And then you got, so in Job 11:17 and Psalms, CX, what is, I think C is 100, 110, I think, CX is, yep, it might be, I think it might be 100, but, again, if my Roman numerals are correct, which I hardly look at Roman numerals, so it might be a little off. Let's see, the Hebrew name of another planet may with great possibility be recognized in Amos 5:26. This name is read as Kayun right here, according to the Masoretic pointing, but see, Masoretic, but it has now been proven that we ought to point so as to, there we go, as to read Kayavan, as the Syriac translator has done. Okay, and we got a number 1 right there. So in this set, oh, do they have it there? Okay, that's okay, and that number, where's the 1? Okay, there it is. On this Genius, the source page 669, where some of the interpretations are given, including that of Saint Jerome, Kayun equals Lucifer, pointing which gives Kayuvan, has also been relied upon by the LXX, who transcribe it as, I don't read Greek, so I don't know what that is. If you guys do, it's right there for you. Where the initial P instead of the K was probably already known or found by the translators in the Hebrew manuscript, which they employed. As a matter of fact, in the Phoenician alphabet used by the Jews down to the time of the LXX and still later, the letters Kaf and Rash can easily be interchanged, according to these guys. And so he said Amos. Shall we go to Amos? Okay, that's getting in the way, man. Amos 5 and what did it say? It's 26. And they might cite it here actually in a second, but might as well. And it says, but ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and Kayun your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. And we're going to look at what... Oh, look, there's Kayun. And that's K-I-W-N. Kayawan. An image or pillar, probably a statue of the Assyrian Babylonian god of the planet Saturn, and used to symbolize Israelite apostasy. Alright, Assyrian Kayovanu, planet Saturn, Arabic and Persian, can't read it, regarded as god. Okay, Kayawan. Pointing Kayawan, okay, and then establish firm, as something established firm, which is this word right here, Kaiwan, established and firm, and then so that's what Amos is pointing at. So Saturn, Kayawan, okay, and now Kayawan was the name of Saturn among the ancient Arabs and Syrians, and as E. Schrader has recently proved, among the Assyrians too. And then we go down here to 2. Number 2 says Schrader, KT2, page 422 and 23. In the sacred books of the Parsis, the planet Saturn is named Kiwan. And I wondered, did I have that? Give me 1 second. I might have had that somewhere too. Maybe. No, I don't. Dang it. Okay. No worries. No worries. Okay. Okay, where were we? Okay, E. Schrader has recently proved. Okay, we went to 1. Number 2. And then, sorry, I didn't read this part. C. Bandahish, chapter 5. Okay. And then we got, let's see. Okay, Assyrians 2. The words of Amos are these. Oh, see, they already had it. And ye shall seek Sakath, your king, and Kayawan, the star of your God, images which you have made for yourselves. The prophet therefore reproves the Jews for the worship of the planet Saturn. This exalts the number of the planets, any notice of which can be found in the Old Testament. For it is not certain that the names Gad and Meni, which is found in the book ascribed to Isaiah, and then it's 3. Let's see, what is 3? And then that's I think L. I think that's a 50, right? And then 10, 65, and 2, or I think that's 2. I think that's what it is. Which are found in the book ascribed to Isaiah, represents the planet Jupiter and Venus. They seem here to stand for the god of fortune and the goddess of chance or fate. And then there's number 4, and that's in see discussion of Jusinius, page 264, and then 798. The LAX. Well, see, we got all that Greek stuff in there. And then let's see, and their relationship to the planetary deities of Babylonia has not yet been conceivably proved. And then 5, the author does not wish to imply that the Jews had not some more exact knowledge of the planet, especially after they had come into contact with the Babylonians. It does not, however, seem that the frequent use of the number 7 in the Old Testament is in any way connected with the planets, much less the institution of Jewish week. As will be shown in the later chapter of this book, the question regarding the application made of the number 7 in the book's post-biblical Hebraism is more complicated. Such influence of foreign ideas is frequently evident in them. Okay, so Let me see if there's anything else here. No, it goes into comments. So Amos talks about Saturn again. But if these guys are saying that it might have not come, since, it only since that time, then what about like there was supposed to be Sabbaths. There was Sabbaths in Enoch and all that stuff. The word Sabbath was in Enoch, and Jubilees and all that stuff. So, and that's, and Dead Sea Scroll that, have those particular books in there. So, and in the Dead Sea Scrolls, there's a bunch of stuff there on the Sabbath. There's prayers, and you know what I mean? Just how the ceremonies run, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? How everything is done. There's a whole bunch of stuff on Shabbat over there. So it raises the question. So, okay, this is done. We're done with that one. Let's close that baby out. And let me just go into here real quick. Okay, and this is another little thing I found here. This is journals.uchicago.edu, and there's that. And it's Saturn and the Jews. All right, go right here, by Eric Zafran. From Chicago Journals, there's the website. The University of Chicago Press Journals. Okay. Which is just like naming some magazine, I guess. All right, here we go. In their, let me see. Yeah, let's go. In their extensive study on the imagery and meaning of the melancholic Saturn, Klebansky, Panofsky, and Saxel. And it's got a 2 there. Let's go look. Oh, hold on. Let me go back. Right here, the title, Saturn and the Jews. And there's a 1 there. Got that. And here's what the 1 says. This study is in part drawn from the author's unpublished doctoral dissertation, The Iconography of Anti-Semitism, and 1400 to 1600, Institute of Fine Arts, New York, 1973. Grateful thanks for encouragement and due to Professor Colin Eisler and the late Dr. Isaiah Shakar. Okay, so this is where this is coming from. And then we had 2. Let's see, 2. Raymond Klebansky, Erwin Panofsky, and Fritz Saxel from Saturn and Melancholy, London, 1964. Hereby collection. Okay, so that's where this is supposedly from. From these people, from this article. I try to look for it, but this particular site, I think you have to be a member of it or a subscription. You have to buy something in there, and I didn't see how much it was. And I don't think it was in there's archives.org or archivesonline.org is a site that has some books sometimes. And there's other sites out there, but the thing that sucks about that is sometimes those books are only like a preview, so you only get like 40 or 50 pages or something. And it's usually not the ones that you're looking for. With everything. So those guys touch only indirectly upon, here, let me move this up a little so I have more room. Let's see, where is it? Indirectly upon one significant aspect or transformation of the ancient planetary deity, the interrelationship of even identification between Saturn and the Jews. They note that St. Augustine considers Saturn a god of the Jews, and then there's a 3 there, and then ID, which means it's a contraction, which just means like also in that whatever they were talking about, and that's page 161. And 115. The identification of Saturn as the star of Israel and its domination of the Judaic religion has been made in a different context by Emma Jung and Marie-Louise von Franz. The Grail Legend, New York, 1970, page 205 and pages 205 and 206. And I have that, but let me just read that let me just read the end of this. Because I think this is all we're actually going to get. Because there's some other stuff. But let's just read it. It's just short. Okay, and then we'll look into what these guys said. See, upon the transformation of ancient planetary deity, Saturn and the Jews. They note this. Okay, we got that. St. Augustine considers Saturn a god of the Jews, and also quote two texts in which this connection is explicit. The earlier is a treatise of the 9th or 10th century by Alcibiades, which claims for Saturn the faith of Judaism, and there's a 4 there. I guess it's the same. Oh, there's the name. On page 132, and then his book Introductorium Maius. Okay, and that's at Oxford. Oh, it's an Oxford book, or printed by Oxford. Okay, Faith of Judaism. The later source is an 8th century work by J.W. Apelles, who finds a melancholy temperament which derives from the influence of Saturn, ultimately responsible for the despicable timidity of the Jews as a race. And then there's a 5. Okay, and page 121, J.W. Apelles, and it's okay, I'm not even going to try to read all this stuff. And then the second one, 1779, a 17th century professor of mathematics at Frankfurt, David Organis, wrote that Saturn is the significator of the Jews. And then C. Lynn Thorndike, A History of Magic and Experimental Science, Columbia University Press, 1934, volume 7, pages 145 and 6. Okay, that was a mouthful. Okay, the race of the Jews. Okay. It seems, therefore, that the current of thought... I gotta make it bigger, man. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep scrolling back now. I don't want to do that. Over a great span of time, okay, relates to the Jews and Saturn. To any familiar with the imagery and concept of Saturn in the Middle Ages and the attitude of Christian Europe during the same time towards the Jews, this identification will come to no surprise. Saturn was a representative of the lowest rung of medieval society. And let me just read the rest. Individuals born under his influence were held in scant regard until with the last quarter of the 15th century, the Neoplatonic elevation of the deity somewhat reformed their character. Oh, and that's okay. Let me go back to 6, and that's from that et al. That was number 6 up here, and now we're over here at the number 7. Neoplatonic elevation of the deity somewhat reformed their character, and 7 says, see Edwin Panofsky, Father Time, Studies in Iconology, and New York, 1962, page 77. Okay. Where am I? Okay, here we go. Alcibiades' description can serve as a prototypical example of the negative concept of Saturn. And he writes, drink, and then he is bad, masculine, in daytime cold, dry, melancholy, presides over fathers, over old age and dotage, the worried, the lowborn, the heavy, the dead, magicians, demons, devils, and people of ill fame. All of this when his condition is good, but when he is evil, he presides over hatred, obstinacy, care, grief, lamenting, evil opinion, suspicion. Further, he presides over miserly gains, over old and impossible things, far travels, long absence, great poverty, avarice. He has the faith of Judaism, black clothing of days Saturday and the night of Wednesday. To him belong everything whatsoever that is black, and goats and bullocks. And that's from 8, and that's from Klabansky et al. I don't know what that means, but it's probably the same books that they just keep referencing here. Okay, so that's what this person said here. And let's see, did I have anything else for that? Because I was thinking there was something. Oh, yes, I did. If we go back over here, 3, where we had 3, where it talked about St. Augustine considered Saturn a god of the Jews, and then 3, which is from the book. What did it say the book was? It's there, right? It has to say it there. Oh, yes. 3, the identification of Saturn as a star of Israel and its dominion of the Judaic religion has been made in a different context by Emma Jung and this Marie Louise von Franz and the Grail legend. Okay, and what is it? Page 161, 115. Okay, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is right here, right there. I think that's it. Let's see, let me close this off. But let me make sure one thing real quick. Page 161. Dude, sorry, it's just too many clickings to go here, go there. All right. 206. And I think this is the part I'm looking for. If I'm not mistaken, it's just so much. Sorry, 205 and 206 over here. New York, 1970, pages 205 and 206. Because I was looking, I'm like, that's not 10 or 115 or whatever, because it's not what we were looking for. So 205, and the part we're trying to get, because this book is like, I think it's very Christian based, because it's talking about the Grailers. I haven't read the whole thing, just read this little section here. Just a little part that has, the part that we're looking for. And that's actually found right here at the bottom, where it says, the one trouble was helpful for the other, therefore the spear was red blood. Okay, that's not it. Let's see. The connection with Saturn is highly significant, since in the astrology of antiquity, Saturn was considered to be the star of Israel and of the Old Testament Yahweh. In the medieval views, however, Saturn was thought to be the domicile of the devil. And let me see, I think that's... we can keep going. See, though he was depicted as lion-headed, like the demiurge. I don't know. of a certain Gnostic system and was considered to be a black star and an evildoer. Oh, that was weird. To whom belong donkeys, dragons, scorpions, vipers, foxes, cats, mice, night birds, and other devilish creatures. While Christianity, according to medieval tradition, originated in a conjunction of Jupiter, the kingly planet, and Mercury, the Judaic religion was under the dominion of Jupiter and Saturn, and the Antichrist under that of Jupiter and the Moon. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. I think that's all we're trying to get from there, because you guys can read it for yourselves, but that's all I gotta see right there. So there's that little part from that section of that book, which is right here, that little section we got earlier, 3. Alright, so we're done with that one, and we're done with the Grail. Move that up, and we got, there's another one that was actually pretty interesting, and that one's found over here. Close that. Oh, I can't close it because it told it not to. This is an interesting one too, and as you can see, the one at Saturn's way down here is where we're trying to get, but to show you where it's at, this is from Hebrew Names of the Planet by Shay Zucker, and it's from the IAU 2011 International Astronomical Union. Let's see, it's either 2009 or 2011. Okay, and we can go to we can read a little bit of it just to kind of get what's going on. Let's see. Abstract. I review in this paper the basic Hebrew planetary terminology. To complete the picture, I accompany it with some historical and cultural context and compare it to the planetary terminology in Arabic, the most widely spoken Shemitic language, okay? Which is a sister language of Hebrew. And here we go, the introduction. Let's see. As part of the International Year of Astronomy activities in Israel, a public competition was announced whereby the public was invited to propose Hebrew names for the planets Uranus, and Neptune. All the other major planets have Hebrew names dating back even to biblical times. Excuse me, I get a drink of water. All right, so they date back even back to biblical times. On the other hand, Uranus and Neptune, which were discovered at times when Hebrew was not considered a living language, are simply termed Uranus and Neptune. In this contribution, I will review the origins of the Hebrew names of the planets and their context, as well as some related notation. Appropriate historical consideration of the Hebrew language cannot ignore related languages, and thus I will also review the relevant Arabic notion. And let's see, I think we can go into this too. A thorough account of Hebrew origins and history is definitely beyond the scope of this contribution, so I will give here a very brief description with only the very broad details, accounting for the major developments in the history of Hebrew. Hebrew is a member of the Shemitic languages family. The most widely spoken Shemitic language today is Arabic, followed by Amharic, Tigrinya, I don't even know what these languages are, Tigrinya, and then Hebrew, usually considered the historic language of the Jews. Let's see if I can make it a little bigger. Other important Shemitic languages that played an important role in the history of the Middle East were Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian, and Aramaic. Most of them are now considered dead languages. And we got between the 10th and the 4th century BCE, classical Hebrew flourished in the ancient Israel between the 10th and the 4th century BCE. Oh, sorry, I just reread that as a spoken language. This was the language in which the Bible was written. During the Hellenistic and Roman periods, one finds the next phase of Hebrew, Talmudic Hebrew, between the 3rd century BCE and the 4th century CE. After this period, Hebrew ceased being a language, and its use was generally confined to liturgical purposes and philosophical and scientific writings. This is medieval Hebrew. During the late 18th century, as part of the Enlightenment movement, Hebrew was revived as a journalistic and literary language. This tendency culminated in the 19th century in the works of Eleazar ben Yehuda, and I believe he's got a dictionary, a Hebrew to English dictionary, Hebrew to English, English to Hebrew dictionary, that it's pretty popular, who aims to revive Hebrew as a mother tongue as part of the Zionist ideology. Nowadays, modern Hebrew is one of the 2 official languages in Israel. The other is Arabic, and most of the Israeli 7 million citizens speak it. And that's from this person. And let's see. Modern Hebrew still has to rely on borrowing vocabulary from other languages, mainly European language, and that's the modern one, the one called Yiddish. And the process of adopting new words is constantly ongoing. The Academy of the Hebrew Language is an official Israeli institute, one of whose directives is the development of current Hebrew vocabulary, from Feldman in 1974. The acceptance of the new vocabulary by the general public is usually a very slow process, which is not always successful. Alright, and we can go a little further here. We're going to 3. Astronomy and Judaism. Right there. Okay. Astral beliefs were prevalent among the nations that surrounded the ancient Israelites. The Mesopotamian religions were completely astral, where each deity had a specific astronomical manifestation, and the motion of heavenly bodies was considered practical means of the gods to communicate with man. The Jews oscillated among adopting characteristics of the surrounding beliefs of the Canaanites, the Phoenicians, and their likes. The strong Assyrian influence from Mesopotamia and their own unique monotheistic culture, and that's from Ness 1990, McKay 1973. In this context, the main use of astronomy was for calendrical purposes, using methods developed by the Mesopotamians. However, astrology in its simplest form also infiltrated strongly into Jewish culture. During the Middle Ages, Jews participated in the Islamic astronomical endeavor, and many renowned Arab medieval astronomers were Jews, such as Masha Allah Ibn Athari, Maimonides, Levi ben Gershom. Okay, and there's some terms here. I'm just gonna scroll. You guys can pause the video if you want. Check this out. But we need to go right here. And some of the stuff we already saw earlier. Saturn. The current Hebrew name for Saturn is, and it's right here, they have Shabtai, and we went over it earlier, Shabbathai. And the video, he even said it in the video. We saw it in the other one, another reference. All right, Shabbathai, and one can easily hear an allusion to Shabbat, Shabbath. We went to the TH, which is here, right here. S, B, or SH. And there's always an A in there. B, A, T, H. Okay. And, man, I hate this. It's so small. One can easily hear an allusion to Shabbath, the holy day of rest, Saturday. This name appears first in the Talmud. It seems that at some point during the Talmud period, the Jews adopted the planetary week, where Saturn rules Saturday, and thus the Hebrew name actually means Saturday's planet. There is one appearance in the Bible of another name, with unclear vocalization, and we went over that one. Kayawan, which may be read Kayun or Kaiwan, and that's from the same guy we found earlier, Schiaparelli, 1905. The source is probably Akkadian, where Kayamanu means the steady one, which is similar to Hebrew Qyam, Q-Y-M, which means exist, or Arabic, Khan, existence. A relic that this ancient word exists in modern Persian, where Saturn is named Kaivan, which, I mean, even we saw V earlier in some of these other names, when they were citing Amos. We saw some V's in there, because they're changing it all the time. Okay, let me see. Kayvon. It may well be that the name was chosen to refer to the fact that Saturn is the most stable planet, i.e. it changes its position relatively slow, as for, moving stars, or stationary stars. As for the Arab name, Zakal, I suggest its meaning may be related to the same root in Hebrew, where it means to crawl, to advance very slowly. Alright, and that was from Hebrew Names of the Planets, and that was from the IAU. Alright, so done with that bad boy. All we got left is, I'm just going to keep that just in case. We have this, which this is just, here's where, let me go. This is from GospelDefenseLeague.org. Alright, and this is talking about six-pointed stars and all this stuff. But this is actually really, has a bunch of stuff. Like, let me see if I can get it in there. There's a bunch of things in there that you can kind of look into. I'm just gonna scroll in there and let's see what we got here. Kind of go into some of them maybe. Let's see what's this one say. So that's that picture right there, and it says the six-pointed star is saturating literature, jewelry, crystals, books, and other religious articles, not only in synagogues but even in Christian churches. The hexagram decorates car stickers, prayer shawls, Bibles, posters, logos, and signs. It flies in the flag of the state of Israel. And the hexagram, the six-pointed star, consists of two triangles, one turned upward and the other downward. The six-pointed star has been in existence for millennium. It is called the hexagram, then the seal of Solomon, and more recently the Star of David. What is its origin and symbolism? And then, okay, not Hebrew. M. Hirsch Goldberg in Jewish Connection states the Star of David is not of Jewish origin, and the ancient Israelites never used it as their religious symbol. And then we got a modern, and we've gone through a lot of these, actually, some of these things. So, but here, let's just go into it. Okay, it's not the religious symbol, modern symbol for Judaism. Hirsch Goldberg explains, Perhaps most ironic, the very sign of the Jew in today's world, the six-pointed star, is not really a historic symbol of Jewry, nor was it used as a religious sign by the Israelites. It became the emblem of the Jewish people in 1897, when the Zionist Conference, convened by Theodor Herzl, chose it as the insignia of their movement. But even though each of the 12 tribes had its own symbol, not one tribe used the Star of David. And that Theodor Herzl, he, if I'm not mistaken, he's the one that was like the main guy at the when they were having the conference for the what is now known as the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. And let me see, we got an Islamic connection. Mr. Goldberg observes construction workers were apparently digging in Romaine near Tel Aviv when they found a six-pointed star embedded in a mosaic floor, which is about 1,200 years old. However, it was established that the floor was Muslim, not Jewish, and that's from the Jewish Connection by M. Hirsch Goldberg, New York, Stein and Day, 1976. And then we have an ancient symbol, the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, published in 1943 and edited by Isaac Landman, reported that the six-pointed star is of ancient origin, according to the Rosicrucians, and it was known to the ancient Egyptians, Hindus, Chinese, and Peruvians. The Jewish Encyclopedia describes a six-pointed star, two equally lateral triangles that are interlaced so as to form a hexagonal star, every point of which touches a circle of the same radius as one of their six sides. All right? And I'm not going to go with that one. We got one in Acts, but I don't really want to. We got the Seal of Solomon. It's a Solomon seal. And the Jewish Encyclopedia lists the following mentions of the six-pointed star on an Arabic amulet, in Byzantine magic texts, and alchemy as a stonemason sign, in the coat of arms in the Freemasons as the Order of the Seal of Solomon. The Jewish Encyclopedia reports that from the 16th century on, this hexagon six-pointed star symbol began to be used by Jewish people. It was associated to the Kabbalists Isaac Luria. Okay. All right, let me see what we got here. And then over here we got, until the 16th century, the menorah had been the accepted shield of David. However, from the 16th century on, the six-pointed star began replacing the menorah on synagogues and on Jewish religious articles. The Jewish Encyclopedia states, "It is only in Jewish sources that the interlaced triangles are called the Shield of David, as non-Jewish sources call the symbol the Seal of Solomon." So you got to be a Jew to call it the Star of David. All else would be uncivilized. Oh man. There's one in there for Kabbalah. There's a Starte, like we went over all that one earlier. Solomon connection. Let me see. There was. No, that's not. There was another one. Okay. All right. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Oh, there's Kaiwan again. Let me see. Canaan. Okay. And they have a couple scriptures here cited here. Let's see, the very soul of magic, astrology, and divination. And yep, I think we even went into this book. Well, let's go into it. Let's see. The very soul of magic, astrology, and divination. In the book, Ancient Pagan Symbols. Oh, it was actually, wasn't it? Or no? Reported in the Sorcerer's Handbook by Wade Baskin, Citadel Press, Secaucus, New Jersey, 1947. Let's see. The triangle, the geometrical emblem of the three things. One above two, the two lower united to protrude higher, or the union of the positive and the negative forces to produce the third. Anyway, that's some other stuff. But it's the same symbol, and that's from the Encyclopedia of Occultism by Lewis Spence. Here we go. Remember, this was from earlier. Let's see. The Talisman of Saturn. In the History of Practice of Magic by Paul Christian. The six-pointed star is called the Talisman of Saturn. It was used in the practice of worship of Ashtoreth and Molech long before Solomon was born, an all-powerful talisman. All right. Balfour Declaration. Let's see what he's got to say. The Rothschild connection. Oh yeah, we read earlier here. Yep, the six-pointed star hexagon was adopted by the Rothschild family and put on their coat of arms. Meyer Amschel Bauer was later changed, who later changed his surname to Rothschild. The Red Shield lived between 1744 and 1812. He had 5 sons. Yep. Okay, and then we got another one that said that. This is Dr. Theodore. Yep, same thing. 1897. Herzl conducted the first Zionist conference in Basel, Switzerland. Six-pointed star was adopted as their symbol. And it's from Who's Who in Jewish History, edited by Joan Comoy, New York, David. Okay. Let's see, the Balfour Declaration. In exchange for the promise of, or in exchange to bring America into the First World War on the side of Britain and France, Lord Alfred Balfour of the British Foreign Office addressed a letter to Lord Rothschild that Britain would ensure that a Jewish state was established in Palestine following the war. And that's a whole another topic there too, man. So we got that, and we got more six-pointed star stuff, and there. Check it out, man. Check those out for yourselves. So that's that, and that's that. So Saturn, I hope everyone maybe got something out of this, or sparked a little curiosity to look in it for yourself, to question what you're following, your belief, whatever it may be, or hell, even if you didn't make it this far, it's all good too. But again, take care, guys. Thank you for being patient. How long are we? Oh my gosh, an hour and 44 minutes. That's what I got here for now. If I get anything else, I'll look into it. But for the most part, man, as far as we can see, the six-pointed star, the Star of David, Seal of Solomon, whatever you want to call it, just hexagram, is at least should warrant looking under your magnifying glass. You know what I mean? Do some detective work on it. But thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I said I was gonna try to do this, and it worked out. And it's just funny that it was on a Saturday that this came out. It's just, it's just funny how things work, I guess, But thanks again. Take care, guys. Farewell. Shalom. Later. Good night, or wherever you are in the world, in the realms. Take care.